And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to be talking about Luka Doncic and his potential contract extension, because now, since he's made the an all NBA team and the all NBA first team for that matter, he becomes eligible for a supermax. Now, this is no ordinary supermax. This is a crazy amount of money. Like, the number is insane to me. So, he's now eligible for a 5-year, $346 million supermax extension. This is going to be the largest contract in NBA history for now, until the salary cap goes up again and somebody else makes more money than Luka Doncic. But the final year of the contract, if he does sign it, would be in 2030 and 2031. And that will give the Mavs, like literally in the last season, that will give Luka Doncic $78.82 million in 1 year. And somebody did the math to this, and this is equivalent to making $960,000 per game. That is almost $1 million in just 48 minutes of playing basketball. That is insane. That is ridiculous. That is a lot of money. That is, obviously for Luka Doncic, like, that is incredibly well deserved, especially like with his talent and how good of a player he is. And don't even get me started if he wins a championship. Oh my gosh, he has a very good window to win the championship right now. If he wins it and then signs this super max extension, the sky is the limit for this man. Like, it's incredible. So, like, his salary cap is literally going to pale in comparison with the contracts that star players will sign over the next 5 years. And now you're probably wondering, why is he getting so much money now? Like, where did all this money come from? So, the NBA, there are reports that surfaced about the NBA agreeing to a $7 billion plus, $7 billion plus dollars per season. The media rights agreement with ESPN/ABC, NBC, and Amazon. Sportico's Keith Smith projected the league's salary cap is going to eclipse $200 million by the 2028 and 29 season. Now, this is the reason why, like, you hear a lot of people and a lot of NBA fans say that the salary cap is just a myth, simply because it's like every single year, like, the Supermax extension turns out to be just, more money than the previous years. And it's like, again, they're all just saying that the salary cap is just a myth. Literally just because, like, the contracts, they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was only like 10 years ago where people would go crazy for someone signing $100 million for like 3 years or something like that. Like, people would go crazy over that kind of money. And not to mention, a lot of these NBA players, they didn't, like, back in the day, the contracts weren't this gigantic. And it's swayed people, the wrong way, and it's also swayed people the right way in a sense, because there are certain players, like, for example, a really good example is actually Jaylen Brown, who's making so much money, and he's the most paid player on his team, yet he's not even the best player on his team, because, a majority of people think Jason Tatum is the best player on the team. And speaking of Jaylen Brown, he wasn't selected for an All-NBA team, which I find rather insulting, especially considering how good the Boston Celtics were as a team. He was the second option, so he should definitely be on the All-NBA third team at least. He should have replaced Tyrese Halliburton, in my personal opinion. But aside from that, these contracts, they're massive now. They're completely different than what they were before. And a player who signed a Supermax extension because of the salary cap increase, a player who signed a Supermax in 2028 would make approximately $95 million in the fifth year of a $419 million contract, which is ridiculous. It's a lot of money, and it's really, really difficult to understand. And because it's like all of those zeros in just one season, and or like in just a couple of years. That's insane. And so this would equate to, I mean, if the salary cap continues like to go in the projected direction that this analyst is looking at it, then this would equate to a player earning $1.15 million per game on salary, not including the postseason. And so, like, Keith Smith, and, like, again, this is just crazy. Like, the amount of money that is projected. Because, like, Keith Smith, he tweeted this out. The NBA getting $7 billion per year for media rights will likely lock a 10% cap growth. That is, the max cap can go up. That is the max the cap can go up, is what he's saying. And per season, starting in 2025 and 2026. And if so, the cap will top $200 million in the 2028-29 season. A 35% max salary that year projects to be $72 million, which ironically was Kobe's max extension at one point that he signed with the Lakers. And, like, you know, his supermax extension that he signed with the Lakers, which is, again, it's kind of astonishing to me just how far we've come to where all of these athletes are getting so much money and they're getting paid all of this bread. And it's amazing to me. I mean, so next is, like, the NBA salary cap increased by approximately 10% each season. It benefits future star players who earn from the supermax threshold. Again, this is just a lot of money. I mean, like, I can't even comprehend how much money this man is going to make off of a contract alone. I mean, and not to mention endorsements, commercials, playoff incentives, all NBA incentives, all of these things that are going to go straight to Luka. That is a lot of money. Like, it's crazy how much money he's going to be making. But that's essentially all that I have on this segment talking about Luka and his own money. And I mean, all, like, congrats to him, and like the possibility of him signing this crazy max extension if he does, because like I keep saying signing, but like it's still not decided whether or not he's going to sign that or not. But as an NBA player, and as, like, you know, a smart human being and an individual, like, why wouldn't you sign this contract? Like, why wouldn't you sign this crazy contract? You could be making more money than anyone in the NBA could even dream of. Like, you have to sign this contract. It's like they're begging you to sign this contract. And if he refuses, that would be absolutely insane. But I don't really think he's going to refuse that contract, especially with all the money that he would be making. I mean, obviously, like, you know, it's not all about the money, but you also have to consider Luka Doncic's age. I mean, he's not getting any younger, obviously, but he's still a relatively young player where he doesn't need to feel that incentive to ring chase just yet. And it's like you make the money now, and that way you can use that money for the future, and, you know, it'll put you in a much better spot. That makes sense. So that's what I think is going to happen. I would be incredibly surprised if Luka doesn't take the max and just, you know, he decides to go somewhere else. I doubt that will happen, though, but it's still a possibility, so we always have to consider both options. But with that, we are out of time for this fourth segment. So now I will go ahead and go into the fifth segment, where I talk about DeMar DeRozan and some of the things that he has to say about the Raptors trading him all the way back in 2018, 2019, before the pandemic and before life became a problem for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right after this short break, so stay tuned.